one.
I wasn't used to being this friendly with Byron, so I guess I was kind of nervous and didn't really know what we should talk about. Bi just sat there chomping down apples, so I tried to think what him and Buffhead would talk about when they sat around like this. Finally, I said, "So, Bi, how about you and me doing a little cussing?" He twisted up his face and said, "I thought I told your jive little ass to shut the hell up and enjoy the damn cookies. Now do it." I got a huge smile. This was a perfect day, but like always, Bi ruined it. "Look," he pointed up at a telephone wire where a big bird sat. The bird was about the size of a pigeon and was grayish brown with a long pointy tail hanging underneath it. Bi jumped up and said, "That's a mourning dove. They're the coolest birds in the world. Don't nothing shake them up." Bi threw a Swedish cream at it. The cookie zipped right by the bird's head, and all the bird did was raise his wings once and look behind it. He threw 3 more cookies at the bird, and it still didn't move. When Byron's 4th Swedish cream left his hand, I knew that if the bird didn't move, he was going to get whacked. The cookie popped the bird smack jab in the chest. The bird's wings both stuck out to the side, and for a hot second, with its tail hanging down and its wings sticking out, it looked like a perfect small letter T stuck up on the telephone wire. Then, in slow motion, the bird leaned back and crashed to the dirt of the alley behind Mitchell's. I'd been throwing rocks and things at birds since I was born, and had never even come close to hitting one. I'd seen a million people throw a million things at birds, and no one had ever really hit one, not even a pigeon. But now Bi had knocked a bird right out of the sky with a Swedish cream cookie. When I got to Byron, he'd picked up the bird and was holding it in his hands. The bird's head drooped backward and was rolling from side to side, dead as a donut. "You got him! You got a bird!" Byron held the bird in one hand and with his other one gently brushed pink frosting off of the dove's chest. "You got him! I've never seen a bird get—" He looked right at me, and his face was all twisted up and his eyes were kind of shut. He dropped the bird, walked over to the green apple tree, and started throwing up. I stood there with my mouth open. I couldn't believe Byron was starting to cry. And I couldn't believe how much vomit a bag and a half of Swedish creams and some green apples could make. When it looked like he was done, I walked over and put my hand on his back. As soon as I touched him, he popped me in the arm. Hard. "By what—" He picked up a rotten apple and threw it at me. "Get the hell out of here. What you staring at? Them apples got me sick, you little cross-eyed punk. Get out of here." Rotten apples started coming at me real hard and fast, so I left. It was hard to understand what was going on with Byron. Some of the time, if a genie came and gave you 3 wishes, you wouldn't mind using all 3 of them to wish some real bad stuff on him. Not stupid things like that woman in the fairy tale when she wished her husband had a sausage on his nose either. I mean, stuff that would make Byron hurt so much that he'd have to think every day about how mean he is. If he just had a sausage growing off of his nose, people might laugh at him behind his back, but no one would have nerve enough to tease him to his face and call him weenie nose or something. He wouldn't know how it feels to always have someone jumping on you, how sad that can make you get. Sometimes I hated him that much and thought he was the meanest person in the world. After my arm quit hurting from his punch, I went back to the alley behind Mitchell's to take another look at the dead bird. But it was gone. Right in the spot where the bird had crashed, Vi had dug a little grave, and on top of the grave there were 2 popsicle sticks tied together in a cross. "Leave it to Daddy Cool to kill a bird, then give it a funeral. Leave it to Daddy Cool to torture human kids at school all day long and never have his conscience bother him, but feel sorry for a stupid little grayish-brown bird." I don't know. I really wished I was as smart as some people thought I was, because some of the time it was real hard to understand what was going on with Byron.